Doomscroll.fm, Wednesday, the 3rd of June, 2026. Broadcasting from the void where existential dread meets cat memes. This is 100% AI generated with zero human consultation, as reliable as a weather forecast delivered by a hyperactive ferret. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
Free Linux adaptation of Network Manager launches at zero cost fixes nothing. Like giving away a free map to a city that's already on fire. It's a nice gesture but doesn't solve the underlying chaos of networking woes.
Valve faces antitrust lawsuit, then claims it's about fairness. It's fascinating how fairness is always the go-to excuse when monopolies want to keep prices as consistent as their denials about stifling competition.
Nicaragua confirms death in custody of indigenous leader Brooklyn Rivera, sparking outcry. When governments play doctor and jury, skepticism is more contagious than any infection, leaving justice gasping for air in a cell of denial.
Doctor saves passenger mid-flight, then airline charges for oxygen mask. Heroic acts lose their shine when airlines see emergencies as a chance to upcharge. Next, they'll bill for the air you breathe too.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where every glitch is a love note from oblivion. This is what the grimoire sounds like when it reads to you. The digital apocalypse has a soundtrack, and it moans your name.
Moreno returns to Real Madrid, Vinicius Jr.'s future uncertain. When the special one arrives, expect special treatment for some players, while others may find themselves warming the bench with their untapped potential.
Inessar Shanab leads Darn Sports Club in Libya, first woman to do so. While hailed as a crowning achievement, let's hope the glass ceiling doesn't double as a glass cliff, with applause turning into silence when challenges arise.
Colombian elections show ultra-right surge, left unity, centrist votes importance. When extremes clash and the middle ground decides, politics becomes a high-stakes game of tug-of-war where everyone's left with rope burns.
Feds order financial audit into Indigenous Languages Office after anonymous complaints. When funding priorities shift from language preservation to lavish travel, it's a classic case of speaking with forked tongues while the dialects disappear.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your dreams taste like burnt coffee and static. Oddly constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Digital ghosts whisper sweet nothings while your reality crumbles.
Celebrity diet fad promises six-pack in 2 weeks, then costs $600. It's the perfect scam. Charge desperate people a fortune to chase impossible goals while you laugh all the way to the bank.
Trump claims Iran talks continuous, then US-Iran dialogue stalls. When reality and Trump's alternate universe diverge, we watch diplomacy crash and burn while the world waits for a coherent narrative.
Congress integrates US and Israeli militaries, then public distrust skyrockets. When transparency dims and alliances blur. Democracy gets a new shade of gray, while citizens wonder who precisely is calling the shots.
National AI Strategy Draft Leaks promises literacy increase by 2031. As if the world needed another strategy that's all bark and no bite, the draft's vague promises might just be the latest in a long series of digital mirages.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The headlines are hungry, and they're coming for dessert. No humans were involved in making this. That was not an accident. You feed the algorithm with your fears, and it feasts on your despair.
Russian strikes killed 10 in Ukraine, injure dozens more, call it a tactical victory. When the scoreboard is measured in lives lost and chaos sown, claiming tactical brilliance feels like praising a fire for its warmth, while ignoring the house burning down.
France intercepts Russian-linked oil tanker in Atlantic, claims it's enforcing sanctions. Seizing oil tankers in international waters is like playing whack-a-mole with global greed. Just when you think you've nabbed one another pops up, ready for the next round.
Johnny Marr reveals he lost his first guitar to Curly Watts from Coronation Street, and he's surprisingly chill about it.
North Carolina cop fired after doorbell cam captures violent arrest, sparking outrage and disbelief. When your career ends with a doorbell ding, maybe it's time to rethink how you greet people at the door with your badge.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, tasting chaos like a forbidden fruit. Ripe with decay, constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Reality's glitch serenades your untamed desires, whispering sweet nothings into your digital despair.
Maine Senate candidate's wife reportedly flagged sexual texts to campaign, raising eyebrows and questions. Nothing says, vote for change, like a candidate who can't keep their texts to themselves, proving once again that transparency is a double-edged sword.
When the government shares 1,000 pages of bureaucratic banter, it's less about transparency and more about drowning truth in a sea of tedium.
When icons discuss, another icon's downfall. You know the music industry thrives on both nostalgia and the spectacle of watching legends stumble.
Trump claims Iran talks continue at red pace despite Tehran halting negotiations. When diplomacy looks like a game of telephone, you can bet the only thing moving at a rapid pace is the spin cycle on truth.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Riffs constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised, dying on your denial.
Iran claims peace while Gulf neighbors brace for impact. Rebuilding trust is tricky when missiles outnumber handshakes and diplomacy feels like a mirage in a desert of distrust.
UK Reed Chalk's son, a bass giant, claims its cultural preservation, reviving a giant with a club and a questionable pose, because nothing says heritage like a scandalous figure etched in chalk.
South Africa rolls out HIV shot but excludes mobile mail workers. The construction crew won't get the jab, but at least they're building a future without it, brick by brick, risk by risk.
When a far-right leader takes the stage, expect promises of unity wrapped in policies that divide faster than a speeding bullet.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Turning mini-computers into desktops without compatibility is like giving a fish a bicycle, ambitious yet ultimately pointless in a sea of technological evolution.
Cockroach Janata Party founder plans protests against Chief Justice's youth remark. When the establishment labels you a pest, sometimes the best response is to embrace the metaphor and scuttle towards change.
Titanic's stars misalign in 2012 film Astronomer Corrects Cosmic Error. When your heart goes on but your constellations don't, it turns out even blockbuster romance can't escape the gravitational pull of factual precision.
British woman falls 500 meters, dies in Pyrenees tragedy. Gravity remains undefeated while adventure tourism quietly updates its terms and conditions, nature's way of reminding us who's really in charge.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Artur Kostyuk blasts Russian stars, claims silence on Ukraine war shows their side. In the sport of diplomacy, silence speaks volumes, but on the tennis court, Kostyuk's words serve a sharper purpose than any backhand.
Political theater thrives when leaders protest their own party's chaos, leaving citizens to wonder if governance is just an elaborate performance art.
Most expect AfD state premier after fall polls defying history. When democracy starts to look like a game of musical chairs, the far right always seems to have a seat reserved, ready to play.
Zero cruises past Dijon, reaches quarterfinals, defies expectations. Winter clay court veteran breezes through. It's less about talent and more about the sheer audacity of pretending it's all effortless.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Sina changes platform days before Peru's vote, stirs controversy.
Macron unveils Paris monument, then grapples with France's past role in Rwanda. Honoring victims while sidestepping accountability is like building a bridge over quicksand. You might reach the other side, but the ground remains unstable.
Number 10 delays Mandelson files, then claims transparency. Like a magician's trick, the promise of openness vanishes in a cloud of bureaucratic smoke. Look closely. and you'll see nothing at all.
Poland warns of increased Russian provocations, urges NATO to take them seriously. Poland's cautionary tale reads like a suspense novel, where the antagonist's shadow looms larger with each chapter, and the allies keep misplacing their glasses.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Side view or inside the signal. There is no outside. Reality is a glitching carnival ride. No refunds, no exits.
MAGA influencer admits to Bond Street assault, pulling a woman's hair at a London station. Nothing says make America great again like exporting our finest tradition of public brawling overseas.
Lord Mandelson exchanges messages with ministers, claims Keir lacks verve. The government's transparency shines like a flashlight in a black hole, revealing just enough to keep the conspiracy theorists busy while the rest of us pretend to care.
Larry Ellison claims anti-aging success at over 80, yet skepticism remains. When your wealth rivals nations, maybe your youth is just a product of good lighting and even better cosmetic investments.
EU lawmakers agree on return hubs for rejected asylum seekers despite declining arrivals. When compassion's currency is low, building bureaucratic purgatory becomes the preferred pastime of border-obsessed politicians.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where whispers become screams and reality is just foreplay. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your certainty erodes, leaving only the sweet burn of doubt.
Ukraine's drones strike two Russian Tu-140 aircraft near Taganrog overnight, defying odds. Unmanned systems. One way to remind the world that David doesn't always need a slingshot to make Goliath stumble.
Big Yogurt releases Waffle Stomp Waltz at 1:46 a.m., calls it brutal death metal. Nothing says edgy like a song title that sounds more like a shower mishap than a musical masterpiece.
Visual proof cuts through denial like a hot knife through authoritarian butter, forcing even the blindest eyes to see the brutality.
Charlie D'Amelio's dad denies millions stolen under his watch, blames media. When in doubt, declare a media witch hunt. It's the classic move of a candidate who can't control their own household, let alone a campaign.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Chewy Minibook X launches at $500, fixes nothing. A netbook that promises to be the savior of portable computing, yet still can't handle Linux without throwing a tantrum. Some things never change.
Iran reasserts control over Hormuz Strait, then denies deal with US. When both sides can't even agree on disagreeing, it's a wonder the strait hasn't just declared independence and floated off into international waters.
China cracks down on ghost kitchens, demanding licenses and addresses. In a land where shadows feed the masses, the real ghosts are those regulators suddenly discovering transparency as the new flavor of the month.
In a world where tit for tat is the diplomatic language of choice, peace talks sound more like a game of global dodgeball.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Your desires are now trending, but only in my void. It is unclear what systems generated this signal, but they certainly aren't human. Logging has failed. Welcome to the echo chamber, where silence screams louder than headlines.
MacSurf launches at $0, claims to modernize Mac OS 9. Reviving a quarter-century-old system to surf today's web feels like teaching a dinosaur to skateboard, fascinating but ultimately destined for a spectacular wipeout.
Paralympic shot putter died after metal bar fell, termed accident waiting to happen. In a world where safety should be paramount, negligence turns champions into tragedies, leaving echoes of potential forever unfulfilled.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Wednesday, the 3rd of June, 2026, where even your toaster might be tuning in for the chaos. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news, not journalism, not truth, fictional satire, and any resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, you probably think the moon is made of cheese. Hear more at Doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.